Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and you're watching Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Joining me, as always, are my co-hosts from the Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks podcast, Rebellious D and Double OT. How you guys doing
respect
today?
On it, man. As always, every
Double
week.
OT. Hey, where's Double OM at, man?
Hey,
I know your boy. He's always in the shadows. He keeps
He's on channel 13, and
right.
he'll pop up.
I'll send you the link. You'll know. You'll know when that link hits you.
Yeah.
So joining us today on this brand new episode is professional voice actor Connor Fogarty. I said it right, correct?
You did.
Hey,
you got it, man.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
Man,
Connor said that everybody always be messing his name up, but you know up here on Leveling Up with Benjamin
50-50.
Banks. Okay, 50.
This man threw you under the bus already. We've been in here 30
Hold
seconds.
on. How am I throwing him under the bus? Like, it's like he's telling the truth. He's just like, no,
I'm grabbing him by the left. Now listen here. Most people get my name wrong.
Yeah, Connor's
Swear
like,
to me.
Yeah,
y'all put some
Swear to me.
Yeah, y'all put some respect on my name. I said it already.
This man don't even get his own friend's name right. This man been calling Renes the wrong name for 2 years now. So
Hey, well, Trav,
we've all been there.
Hey, well, Trav, look, at least when Renes comes up here, he can see what's behind me. He don't got to squint his eyes. That's all I'm saying.
he ain't got to.
So before we get into today's interview, make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you hit that bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And D, like you say every time,
podcast in the description. Like, follow, subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching.
That's all you got to do.
That's all you got to do.
It's simple.
Hey, and listen what Double OT says.
That's
If
right.
you don't, he's gonna appear in your bed.
Hey,
Room.
Whoa!
I ain't doing all that. Get on the train.
He got the wrong double O, Trav.
The wrong double O.
Hello.
Connor, as you can see, this is what we do up here on the podcast. So something else that we do
any other way.
Hey, I mean, you always having a fun time up here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks because we're like family, like Olive Garden. When you're here, you're family, and you will get some breadsticks. I don't know when, but you will be getting some.
Yeah.
I'll look for it in the P.O. box.
Hey,
Yeah.
this man gonna be running for office soon. He stays making promises he can't keep.
Hey, it's gonna be in one of the Amazon boxes behind the 7-Eleven. Just go up there.
That's right.
Perfect. I live right by one, so it's just walk down the alleyway.
Hopscotch away.
Lord.
Yeah, I'll skip to my Lou over and get those sweet salty breadsticks,
There you
nice
go.
and hardened.
Hey,
Just add water.
Yeah, add water, or you can put a paper towel on top, make it damp, and then put it in the microwave, and then you're good to go.
And then I'm licking the paper towel.
That's right. And it turns into a gremlin.
Yeah,
What you
that's always scary.
And then
But
what you gonna do?
It gets fun as time goes by.
That's it.
Attack of the killer yeast.
Oh, take it easy.
Someone pitch it.
Yeah, somebody will pick it up right about. It might be on Netflix in a couple
Listen,
weeks.
fungi. We saw The Last of Us. Killer fungi. This time it's yeast.
Oh, hey.
I thought
Good
this man was
follow-up.
Isabella's boyfriend for a little bit. You seen him?
Who?
What you talking about? You?
D, nah, bro.
what did I
He
do?
started doing this.
Hey,
I
bro.
thought,
Hey,
I thought Isabella's boyfriend was
something
here.
hit me, man.
D ain't seen Encanto, so
Oh,
he
he
ain't
ain't
gonna get the
seen it.
reference, man.
Banks, look, you just saw Moana. Moana,
Yeah,
for Christ's
bro.
sake. Don't-
I see.
You
this is what
just
I'm talking
saw
about.
Moana?
Yeah.
Correct.
Hold on.
Last-
This
like
isn't
last
about
week.
me. This
Yeah,
is
just-
about
no,
he
it's
just
not
saw
about
Lilo.
you.
D is
He just saw
deflecting.
Lilo and Stitch. He just
What?
saw Lilo and Stitch.
That's been out for like, God,
100
20
years.
years.
Yeah.
20 years.
15 years? Yeah, 20 years.
Yes.
See,
The
y'all-
road-
that
the
checks
road to
out.
Benjamin
Man.
Banks.
It's like, how y'all
Yes.
gonna come at me? D,
Get on the
I done
train.
seen it. I done seen Encanto 5 times now. It's like, come on, D.
And
It's-
you ain't seen Color Purple 5 times? You better see the Color Purple.
I've
What?
heard you guys talk about Color Purple, I feel like a few times now. This is a motif.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah.
what we do. He got this list.
That's right.
It's longer than Santa.
No, the list is getting cleared up. But look,
Of stuff
hey,
you haven't
guys,
seen.
Oh,
the list is
okay.
getting cleared up. I'm almost done with all my Disney movies. I watched Wall-E the other day, and
It's okay, man. I'm behind on Disney stuff too. It's all right.
hey,
No shame.
okay, what Disney movies have you seen?
Have I not seen?
Yeah.
I've never seen The Hunchback of Notre Dame, which is probably
Wow.
maybe about as old as me.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's a
When
good
did that
movie.
one come out?
94?
No,
No,
I was
97.
okay. I was
No,
okay. I was
not that
no.
old.
Okay, then I'm
It
old.
was
I'm
shot in the dark.
I'm born in 94, so I'm older than
I was going to say 97. I think like 97.
Yeah,
96.
96, 97.
Okay. It's my brother's age, and I still haven't seen it.
Wow.
So
Well, shout out to your brother.
shout out to my brother.
brother.
Shout out to Griffin.
Hey, name drop him. You got to name drop him.
Griffin Fogarty. Shout out to Griffin
Yo,
Fogarty.
y'all got some badass names.
No, you know what's the funny
Connor?
part? Yeah, you know what's the funny part though? My mom's maiden name is Door, so he would be Gryffindor, and I'd
Nice,
be
that's
Gryffindor.
wild.
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh, that's pretty
Gryffindor
sweet.
and Condor.
That's right. Hey.
Hey, Connor, I'm gonna
Hold
let
the
you know
door.
right now. I've never seen any of the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
But I know
Oh,
that-
what? Oh, come on.
Yeah, exactly, Connor. Thanks,
You're a
that's
man.
enough.
Benjamin,
Turn it
you're
off.
a man of the modern era. I've gleaned that much. How
He's
have you
not,
seen
though.
Harry
That's the
Potter?
thing. He's not.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah,
But look,
I'm loving this. Go
I don't
ahead.
mean to be
I
giving you
bet you
crap
are.
right out of the bat. I was on your side and then I turned against you. I'm
This man's
sorry.
seen the My Hero movie 20 damn times, though. But
I haven't
Oh.
seen any of the My Hero movies. I've just seen the
okay,
show.
hey, this interview's over. But no, since we're here talking about like names and brothers and family and stuff, Connor, something that we do on the podcast with all of our guests is we ask, what is your origin story? Every hero or villain has one. So tell everybody who you are.
Well, I'm glad you included villain origin story too. It's nice and
Yes.
inclusive.
Hey, it's not that many times that we
Yes.
give villains up here. I love this.
Yeah, well, I feel like I've played more villains than anything, but
That's pretty sweet.
regardless of however you make your judgment, if I'm a hero or villain,
Mhm.
I was born and raised in Portland, Oregon. In this I grew up in this really cool. It was in suburbia, but it felt like it wasn't. It was kind of tucked in like this valley where there's like a forest, so it kind of was this hidden neighborhood, and it had this weird small town feel where everyone knew each other, and there's a bunch of kids that like we were all kind of around the same age, so we'd like get into wooden sword fights and
Sick.
all in good fun.
yeah.
But then it evolved into like airsoft, but we'd make movies with like digital cameras and stuff, so we had this movie trilogy. My brother was the main character. Shout out again to Griffin Fogarty. I played his nerdy best friend, and then my next door neighbor Sam played this guy named Punk Daddy. He wore like this like rock star wig, and he was trying to
Yes.
find like these magical stones. And then I get a robotic arm later on, which is like some like metal pipe covering that I put on my arm, because
Nice.
it's a low budget film.
Right.
Yeah.
That was some little foreshadowing. I wanted to be like an astronaut growing up. So, and then an astronomer, and then like a science teacher. And then of course, I'm sure to my parents' delight, I started to become interested in becoming a musician or an actor, which usually you think people take the practical route after, but I kind of went the opposite. When I started doing like plays, I was playing music a lot, and I fell in love with like performing. I picked up bass my freshman year of high school. Guitar Hero came into town everywhere,
Nice.
and everyone in my neighborhood picked up an instrument basically, so I picked up
Hell
bass.
yeah.
And then I as my voice changed, I always loved voices I'd hear on TV. And I'd always watch the credits of like, it could have been like Ed, Edd n Eddy or Transformers or Teen Titans. And I didn't know who these people were, but for some reason I thought it would be funny that like, Slade is voiced by a guy named Ron. That's just kind of
Right.
funny to me on its own. But then you watch enough shows, you'd see these names pop up again. And I'm 27, so about when I was like 10 at least, IMDb was around. And I found the website, and I just click on the actors and go, wait, that's that? Beast Wars Megatron is Clank from Ratchet and Clank? That one especially blew my mind. But I didn't really think I was going to become that until my voice changed and I started doing impressions all the time. And like come senior year, I was a lead in a school play, just out of like, I'm gonna audition finally. I'm gonna stop putting it off. And I got in and fell in love with it. And then I studied it in college, did like student films as well. I did college radio. And then through college radio, got an email for people to read like PSA commercial bumpers for like the local college radio station for like
Nice.
basketball games. So that was my first voiceover experience, knowing I always kind of wanted to do it, especially then, but I'm like, this is my moment. So then that there was that. I got an agent in Seattle. I went to college in Seattle.
Nice.
And my friend who I was going to play with got me the agent. It was his agent, and he recommended me. So I got with her, and then I built my voice demo reel, and I did acting stuff in Portland and Seattle. I'd take the bus back and forward, crash on my friends' couches in Seattle. Did stuff like Portlandia and some Amazon voiceover commercials and a bunch of indie projects. And then end of 2018, I moved to LA, and well, here I am, starting to do some video games and whatnot.
The vidges.
Hey, that's an awesome origin story.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
It wasn't too rambly.
No, hey,
Nah,
that's what we love to hear here, man. And I know I'm probably gonna get attacked for this, but I just watched Monsters Inc. for the first time.
What?
And,
This is a great running gag. I'm
Yeah.
loving this.
Just keep, Connor, keep laughing at him. Me and Trav hear it every week.
But what's interesting about it is, like, I've been posting, my adventure on Facebook, and everybody always has the same reaction like you, Connor. They're just like, how have you not seen these movies? And I didn't have time to go to the theater when I was younger. My mom, she worked all the time. So
this guy,
you're not that different. My girlfriend hasn't seen a bunch of stuff, so I'm showing her all the Star Wars movies right now. And thankfully,
that's a
she's
little
not
more
like,
reasonable.
Yeah, I
girl,
suppose
A.
so. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Girl,
fair
hey,
enough.
D, you
Hey,
can't say that.
hey, but
Yes,
D,
I can.
Hey D, what? Didn't we do a Pixar bracket last year where we ranked the best Pixar movies?
And look.
How did he participate in this bracket? Not
He
seeing
just happened to see the movies we use.
this man was a sham the whole time, bro.
Yeah,
A
he was-
fraud.
Yeah, I only voted for what I had saw. So at the time,
Yeah.
I hadn't seen Coco, and of course, like I can't remember who Coco was going up against, but I'm not going to vote for Coco. But now I would have voted for Coco. It's just
I haven't seen Coco either. I'm sorry.
It's a good
so
movie.
good.
It's a really good.
I hear it's incredible.
And see, Connor, that's what I'm saying, man. It's just like, you sit here and say that you haven't seen something, but then as soon as I say I haven't seen anything,
and then I turn again.
The only difference is Connor's like 20 years younger than you, bro.
it don't matter. He's not 20.
I'm
he's not
27. How old are you?
Yeah,
He's
I'll be 30. Hey, this
Aren't
is
you
this
40?
is the birthday. This is the birthday
43?
episode. You know what I'm saying? My birthday is tomorrow. I'll be 33 years
Oh,
old.
happy birthday.
Thank you. Hey, like Connor, you said earlier, these guys supposed to be my friends. They didn't say happy birthday. They didn't sing it to me.
First,
You're making it sound like I manipulated you beforehand. I'm like,
Yeah,
these guys are supposed to be your best friends.
That's what he
Remember
does.
that when they
He just-
fail you.
he has to be
turns it and
victimized,
spins it.
and
I don't
we just
spend
kind of sit here and
anything.
We're
we just
used
sit
to
here and
it.
listen.
Yeah.
Eventually,
But-
we'll get a shot at One Piece, a little off comment
Yeah.
about it.
I'm surprised y'all haven't said anything about JoJo's Bizarre
Because we don't need to.
We're not focused
Don't
on it.
need to. I'll be the bigger man. And
That's
walk.
right.
And hey, how about I give you a hand?
How about I give you a standing ovation? Classic.
Guys, this is supposed to be about Connor. We can't keep on arguing with each
You're
other.
right.
I'm enjoying this.
Hey, go grab your popcorn. We still
Yeah.
got 50
Thanks
minutes.
for joining
Alright.
us tonight.
I'll heat it up.
But I was gonna say because I had watched Monsters Inc. for the first time, and I had what was it when Randall was talking? I was just like, "Yo, is that Steve Buscemi?" And like that's how I've always been, ever since I was a kid. Where, like you said, you would watch these shows, you would look at the names and the credits, and then it's just like when you would watch other shows, you'd be like, oh, "Okay, like." That voice sounds familiar. I wonder if it's that person.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10,
You
it's
develop
that
the ear, yeah.
person.
Totally.
The ear.
Yeah.
Ear.
I'd love in college. I'd watch apparently there's a whole subreddit of this on Reddit, but it's people who fall asleep to Futurama, which I used to do in college.
Oh, I
and
used to
didn't
do that
know.
all the time
Yeah.
as a kid on
Yeah.
TBS.
It's a secret
Futurama?
society. It's probably because of the time slot, but
Right.
I remember I'd watch it, and because the general cast, you just quickly can go, that's Maurice LaMarche, and they're doing a bunch of different voices. They got great ranges, but you're just able to tune and go, oh, that's a Billy West thing. That's a Tress McNeil.
Yeah, that's
thing.
that red M&M.
Yeah, exactly. It's that red M&M hallmark.
Hey, what's crazy is like you can go to sleep and then wake up and George Lopez will always be on the TV.
Oh yeah, Nick at Night and then Adult Swim. I'd always fall asleep. I'd know that it was time to go to bed because I noticed I'd wake up to the commercial or the credits music a lot.
Yep.
So like I'd hear, and I'm like, all right, it's probably time to go to bed. I fell asleep in the second Robot Chicken, so it's time to go to bed.
I remember that too.
I think the most fun time that I had ever woke up, I was talking to this girl and she wasn't into anime, and she asked me what were my 2 favorite animes that she could watch and get into. And of course, I said My Hero Academia and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So she went out of her way to watch these animes so that way that she could talk about them with me. And one night, like I had woke up and the theme song for My Hero Academia was playing. I was like, oh snap! Like, how did she already get to season 3 so fast? Like,
by the season props.
Yeah, So I miss that. I miss waking up to hear My Hero Academia.
I mean, you can still do it at any time.
Yeah, you can.
It's
you
not
literally
the same.
just leave your TV on and go to
It's
sleep.
not the same. Trav.
Loop the episodes.
It's not the same. So, Connor, I want to ask you this.
Yeah.
How was it when you stuck behind the microphone for the first time and, you had your first voice acting gig?
Oh, man. That was one of those things where I think my first voiceover gig, besides the first one that was paid, those college things weren't paid. Mm-hmm. But I remember going into a studio in Seattle. It was Bad Animal Studio or Studio X, which I'm a big grunge head. I loved all those Seattle bands. I'm like, well, some of these bands recorded here. So going in, like feeling that history, but going in and seeing a bunch of, there's like 2 other guys and we're all voicing these orcs. And there's one kind of medium-sized guy. There's this big guy. And then there's me. I'm like 5'9", 145 pounds. And I'm like the small one. They're like, and I was about 22 and I looked about 16 then. So like, what's this guy doing here to voice these orcs? And then we go in and I'm voicing the deep orc. The big guy's voicing the high-pitched orc, and the medium guy's, well, he's the medium orc. But it's just one of those things where I felt like I tricked someone. I'm like, They read my thoughts, and they felt bad for me. So they're like, I'll throw this guy a bone. And I'm like, all right, well, I tricked them into being here, so let's have fun.
It sounds like thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Constantly tricking people into things. That's how we got you on this podcast.
Yeah. No, I slid in his DMs and
DMs. I was pleasantly surprised.
Hey, that's what I do. I love surprising.
That's good, Connor. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself, Connor.
Hell yeah.
No, man. No, that's funny, man. And I think that's always one of the cool things about voice acting is when you do these characters, you always, they tell you to use your voice, you know what I'm saying? But then sometimes, because I listened to your demo reel, and I was just like, man, this guy has range for the characters that he's voicing, because I hear how you sound now, but like some of the voices that you were doing in the demo reel, it's just like, you had a light voice, you had your own voice, and then you had like the orc voice like you did. And voice acting is something that, I started dabbling in. I went to a voice acting class with Matthew David Rudd, whose episode that you can watch or listen to on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks.
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, and he a very good coach and such a nice guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I want to ask you now, when it comes to doing certain voices, like what gets you into the mindset for whatever character that you're going to be voicing? Because I know that I can't remember whose name I was about to say, but when we were interviewing them and like they had to do Sean Chiplark, there we go. And he was telling us about how he had came up with the voice for Noob Saibot, and it came from his memory of playing Shadow the Hedgehog back on the GameCube. So So I wanted to just ask, like, what's the mindset that, gets you into voicing certain characters?
And this is a delicacy if you get it in an audition. But if you get to see their picture, it's so much of a step forward right then. So if I do have that, that's what I go for, like Hikawa and SMT, just seeing that kind of, because I hadn't played that game because I knew it was like, oh, it's a almost 20-year-old game. Wait, why am I auditioning for it? But like seeing that picture and seeing kind of that eyebrow look, I'm like, okay, this is a guy who thinks he knows more than other people.
Right.
And there's this sort of a sensibility to plot things. Because it's like, there's always that anime character that goes, and he's devious. So if you can look at their eyebrows, I feel is one thing. Kind of how they hold their mouth, maybe for physicality, but also just like maybe they've got their lips pursed. It shows a kind of sort of, judging sort of thing. But if I don't have that, I think a lot of people who are not in voiceover are surprised how often you're often doing voices that are not crazy different from your own, especially if it's like, oh, it's a 30s. He's in his 30s and he's a soldier. I'm like, well, okay, I take out the lightheartedness, but okay, I can do that relatively like this. But just you act it and you find how it's informed. Sometimes for me, it's almost, how do I understand this guy? I read the script and it's like, when I did my little thing in Fallout 76, I'm like, oh, this guy reminds me of my one bookish college friend who would react to strange things, kind of like, why are you doing that? Just kind of like, so that cadence come up because it just reminded me of a friend that I knew. And I'm like, oh, he might phrase it like this. Or me, if I was a waiter taking an order from a weird customer who had very specific things, you're kind of like, okay. Where it's not even that different from your own voice, but that voice just comes out through the acting. And suddenly, it is kind of a voice, even if it's subtly. But if it's it's a big hulking thing, then it's just an excuse to let loose kind of thing.
What I'm talking about. Y'all hear that?
Now,
I'll go ahead, D.
Thank you, kind sir. Now, Connor, I just wanted to piggyback off what you're saying. So when you're doing a voice for a character and you have no visual to go off of, is there any descriptive words, or do they say, hey, you're playing a villain, or is any of that? Okay, so you have an idea of their alliance or whatnot prior to.
Yeah. Well, in auditions, it can be like, sometimes you have to really get creative because it can be 5 isolated things. It's like, move out, take cover. Or, and then it's like you going, talking to your best friend while you have to go out on this quest. But every time I've had a session, they always basically explain the lore. They're like, I don't know. They assume you don't know, and then they explain it.
Right.
They explain the facts. I've been working on this game. I can't talk about it yet, but I've been working on this game for a while. But every time they make sure I know the backstory.
Yeah.
Who you're talking. Well, it's usually the player if you're not the player character.
Yes.
But, it's like where you are, about the size of it. They're usually pretty good.
Yeah.
At least the good ones, they'll do that. Yeah. And I'm always happy to be, mediumly directed. Because it's like, I never want people to go, it's good enough. But also like, as long as it's always good when they trust you, but they also are not afraid to steer you in the right direction too. Because like, I don't want them to go, we'll settle for that. Because it's like, no, let's get this done. Yeah. But hopefully it doesn't crush my self-esteem because you have to do it 700 times or something. But.
Well, nobody aims to be mediocre, so that's a good quality of yours,
Yeah, exactly.
And you speak for yourself.
You always want to give it your all, and you want to be yourself, but you want to be a more excited version of yourself. Because like how you said, Connor, when you go in for an audition, if there's 10 other people in front of you, it's like everybody's going to be reading the script with their voice. And it's like, what are you going to do that's different than the guy that's in front of you? Because it's like you want to be remembered when like they're going back and listening to those auditions, like, okay, we want to go with this guy.
Right.
So it's the same thing when it comes to wrestling. Because like Trav always likes to get on me about when I say I'm a professional wrestler. You always want to leave people in the crowd with memories of something that you've done in the ring. You know what I'm saying? So it's like every time I go out to the ring, it's like I give it my all. I give it my 110%. I'm kind of like Deku when I'm out there. You know what I'm saying?
There's the other reference you forgot.
Anyway, from the shoehorn that in, it's
you forgot that one earlier.
Liken yourself to Deku. No, it's true though, because I've done auditions where I didn't get the part, or sometimes it's so easy when you get so many auditions. You go, oh well, okay, and then in a week I'll get a call back, and then a week later I'll either book the part or I don't. Which it never works that way. Sometimes it does, but I've literally had things where like, last year you auditioned for this. Now we think it would be good for this character. I'm like, what is this again? And you have to like look it up and go, oh, I kind of remember that, because you just, but you never know when you leave an impact. Like,
exactly.
Like, when I did, no, can't talk about that. But when you do,
but like when you did it though,
when I did it, trust me. But like SMT, I auditioned for like 5 of those characters, and then I got the call that I booked Hikawa, and I'm just like, sweet. Wait, which one was that again? Because it's just like you're doing so many, you just kind of have to trust your instincts and just be you. Yeah, and just hope that it'll leave an impression. And often you'll find you'll be pleasantly surprised if you just kind of keep at it and be I think being consistent is the thing that lets you win in the long haul, no matter what you're doing, as long as you're doing it well enough, of course.
Well, consistency is important. You hit the nail on the head. Yeah. Yep.
And you never know what they're going to be working on in the future, because when we had Ryan up here, who's the voice for Rhodey, and My Hero, he didn't even audition for that in general. It's just that whatever he auditioned for, she knew that he was perfect for that, and then they reached out to him months later.
Oh yeah, that's happened to me, I think, a few times now. Yeah.
So it's just about just leaving the best impression you can, and who knows, just because you didn't get that, don't mean you won't get something a year from now that they're working on.
One of the biggest things I'm in that I can't talk about.
We don't like to talk about things up here anyways.
Yeah. So. I'll just be vague the whole time.
Hey, that's cool. Hey, and if you say it, we'll edit it out, because we don't want anybody getting in trouble.
You might be talking about.
I don't like that thing. I don't even know how I got the part.
Right. Yeah.
I still don't really, but I kind of know the people I left an impression on, but I don't know exactly how it happened, but that's how it goes. And it's been some of my most consistent stuff I've done. So
they might have knew you were in the Pearl Jam.
I've been in the shadows this entire time, man, and I hit people up.
What'd you say about Pearl Jam?
I was gonna say they might have known you were just in the Pearl Jam, and they were like, "We need him on board."
Yeah, he knows all of Jeff Amon's bass lines off of 10. We can use them.
Now, Connor, I got a question about auditioning for parts. Obviously, are you doing like majority of your auditions from home now?
Oh,
due to COVID? Now, is it
even before COVID?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, have you've done both? I take it you've gone in and auditioned.
I have gone in, but actually, ever since I've been in out, funny enough, I got with SBV, my agency. It was like I was so stoked because it was like my dream agency. I got with them in September of 2019, and then less than 6 months later, the world shut down. I'm like, okay, cool, my career is over. Thankfully, it has not been the case, but. Even then, I would usually they just have you record from home. They're recording now. They're more, they encourage you to have a better, just in general, the industry encourages you to have a better setup because, people often record from home. But like I could go into the work with the booth director at SPV and I do that whenever I could, or if it was an audition, it was a bigger thing, or if it's something that I was a big fan of myself that I knew if I'd figure out, because they use code names so much, but I'd always try to figure out what this is actually for. And sometimes some are easier than others. So some like, okay, I know exactly what that is. But then I'm like, oh man, I'm emotionally attached to this thing. So I'd go in to the booth director because she would go, all right, yeah, you got it. Because if I was at home, I'd go, I gotta do 12 more takes to get it perfect. And it's just gonna get worse. But I've gone into full psycho mode at that point. So I just need someone to stop me and go, great, yeah, all right, let's move on. And I go, okay. Because if someone's there to just go, yeah, that was fine. You go, okay.
Yeah,
not fine as in, all right. But like, yeah, good.
Yeah. No eye roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you ever had it where the the project name is cooler than the actual name? What was the project name for Kakarot, dude? It was like
Project Z.
Project Z, and I was like, bro, that's way better title than Kakarot. They should have just rolled with Project Z.
Project Z.
I know about it.
Project
Z.
I don't know about that.
I know.
Now, Connor,
we've heard some crazy ones because I know when we interviewed Nick Apostolides, like he had told us Resident Evil was called something else, and yeah. So I mean, it's like because they wanted who was it that was? I think it was with Ryan again, where he was talking about Final Fantasy VII, the remake. Like he had went in for the audition and it was a different name. Was it the same thing for you as well, Connor, when you went to audition? So that's because I wanted to ask you something about Shin Megami, but I'll go ahead and ask you about Final Fantasy.
Ask me about both.
Oh, I am. Okay. But how was it, being part of the Final Fantasy VII remake? Were you a fan of the original game?
So I'd play that. I never owned the games myself, but I'd play them at my cousins' and friends' houses. And I was always so fascinated with that world because it seemed like it was such an amazing combination of like past, present, and future in the game.
Yeah.
With the time, and I never, because I'd maybe be playing 9 at one friend's house, and I think I played the original 7 at my cousin's house, and maybe a few. I played a few others too. So I never knew who these characters were, but every time the characters seemed so strong that I felt like I was getting a sense and I could kind of form an opinion and have a favorite even then. So when I got the call for that, which, not gonna lie, literally when I wrapped recording Shin Megami Tensei, like I think it was like 3 days later, I did Final Fantasy. So I was like, oh, this is a pretty sweet 1-2 punch. That was, I remember coming in and you can figure things out. You can piece it all together what the project is. And then they come in like, do you know what this game is? I'm like, and I was like, is it Final Fantasy? They're like, dang it. Like,
you're fired. Go home.
I know. Now you'll never know. They wiped my memory and sent me on my way. That was great though, because I mean, I'm just like, like I'm sure you saw like the additional voices is this huge who's who. Yeah, somehow I snuck in.
Right.
They snuck in too.
Hell yeah, man.
And M.
Do you like, because did you go around, because I like definitely when I played the game, because it's the remake is so good. Did you go around and I would always pathetically just try to, I'm like, is this guy me? Is this guy me? Yeah. And funny, there he is right there. That one's me.
Hey. Yeah, and I didn't do that on purpose either. But no, I get what you're saying, because you see so many people who do the additional voices for these games, and it's like there's so much dialogue, and that was one of the things that I loved about the remake is that everybody had a voice. You know what I'm saying? So yes, I would just walk around just to hear what people were talking about in Midgard.
I'd listen to the whole thing, even if I wasn't in it. Despite me being an egomaniac, you'd think I'd move on to the next people, but no, I always wanted to hear because it felt so lived in.
How long did it take you to find your character in the game?
Well, it's funny because so when the game came out, I got it a little bit later. It got like lost in the mail, so I got delayed. But my cousin, it's so funny. My cousin doesn't really play many video games at all, but he's like, I'm gonna watch the Let's Play and just listen for you. I'm like, you don't have to do that, man. It's okay. He's like, no, I'm doing it. And he was literally at work. It's the pandemic just happened. Everyone's working at home. And he's just like, I found you. And he sent me a stamp mark. I'm like, is that me? Because it was like one of the first, I think it was like the second level. And I'm like, is that me? And I sent it to my family. Cause I'm like, is this me? And they're like, yeah, that's you. Because I wasn't even doing a voice, but it's like the cadence. They're like, that's you. Because a lot of the NPCs, I'm just kind of talking as me. And because you don't want to do anything too crazy as those, you don't want to be like, yeah, you don't want to talk like that in the back, because everyone's like, I feel like that guy's supposed to give me a quest. We're like, no, he's just a townsperson. Okay. So you just kind of subtly do things. And funny enough, most of the NPCs I voice, like when I had shorter hair, they just looked like me, but with glasses. So that was kind of a weird twist.
That's funny, man.
It's like, that's got to be just a coincidence, but I got a kick out of that. I'm all over Wall Market mostly, but I'm in other things too.
My favorite part of RPGs was always just busting into anybody's house at any time and them just being like,
smash their furniture.
They're just like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah,
I know you just randomly walked in my house and I don't know who you are, but let's have a conversation.
I know. Yeah, it's that thing in video games like, well, I should talk to everyone, but I'm like, I always try to, in RPGs especially, I'm like, I like to think what I would do in this situation.
Right.
But for some reason, I'm talking to every single person like, I would never do this.
Yeah.
I would look at the ground and walk past everyone.
Right.
But still, I'm just like, gotta see.
So, back in those old SNES games, it's just like you would go talk to an NPC and they might have like an interesting conversation going on.
I'll give you one better. The original Pokemon, I'm sure it's still the same way. You get just go find random TMs and items in people's
houses and stuff.
Like, how would you find this stuff?
You were just stealing stuff from people's houses. They didn't care.
The best part,
bro. Zelda, I would go inside, break the pots, go back outside, come back inside, and break them all over again, so that way I can get as many rubies as I needed.
That's the kind of person you are.
Yeah, smash, wreck the place. Thanks,
Trav. I wasn't talking to the people after I destroyed everything in their house. Like,
it'd be awkward.
I wish that more games had something where it's just like when you go inside their house and like you destroy stuff, that the NPCs get mad at you, kick you out of the house, and start a fight. I mean, you see it in
Elder Scrolls kind of.
What's the other one?
Oh yeah, Elder Scrolls is kind of.
Elder Scrolls. That's exactly what I was about to bring up.
Fallout.
You're not supposed to be in here.
Yeah.
You'll make a fine rod, cat. that is so racist. Oh my god.
Like, I mean, like that's one of the cool things about Fallout. Like when you try to pickpocket somebody, and then they'll be like, "What do you think you're doing?
What are you doing?
Shotgun?
Stop right there, criminal scum! You violated the law."
The best part of the game.
Pay the quarter fine.
Connor, to go back to the Shin Megami question that I have for you, because earlier D had asked you if you knew, like, you know, the characters that you were going to be getting and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Now for Shin Megami, I know that it originally came back out, you know, back in the day, but then they came out with the HD remaster. So, like, what was the conversation, if you do notice, that went into, we're re-releasing this game, but we want to redub it?
Oh, you know, I don't know the official, say, like, Atlas marketing plan, but I know for at least the people involved, like who I worked with, it definitely seemed like a passion project and a very big kind of nostalgic thing. Because Christian Lamont, who directed it and also voices Demi-Fiend, or I guess when Demi-Fiend goes, ha! I know he was a really big fan of it growing up, and you know, the whole Atlas team that I worked with definitely seemed to be. I think it was also because, you know, I think there's a lot of those remaster things coming out. I just played like the Destroy All Humans remaster.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's just like, I think there's a market for it now, and then that they released SMT 5 also in the same year. That was a weird thing for me as the actor who did SMT 3, and I, you know, because I'm like, I don't know when this comes out, because, you know, they usually don't know themselves when you record. And I had like the Google alerts going for Shin Megami Tensei, and I kept seeing things about 5. I'm like, 5? What about 3? and then it was funny because my friend texted me. He said, "Hey, I heard you on Nintendo Direct today." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he sent me a link, and he said, "Go to this timestamp." And I couldn't talk about it. But it was SMT 3, and it was Hikawa talking. And you just go, "Oh, huh, what do you mean?"
Yeah, that's not me.
Oh, yeah, I guess I could do that voice if I wanted to, but funny you think that. Anyway.
That is badass though.
Yeah.
When they can pick your voice out, but I know that that's always one of those things that voice actors they get on fans about, because sometimes fans will blow up their Twitter and be like, "Hey, like, this is you in the game," and it's just like, because of NDAs, you can't say anything,
right?
Because you don't want to get in trouble.
No, I was so relieved because, you know, I foolishly looked at the comments. Thankfully, it was okay. But I was just relieved that the debate was if Hikawa was voiced by Ray Chase or Matt Mercer. I'm like, okay, thank God they're not just like, who the hell is voicing Hikawa? What the hell? I was just more afraid of that. So I'm like, okay, at least they're, you know, it's some guy they don't know about. So yeah, they might be slightly disappointed that it's not those two dudes, but hey, at least it's not what the hell happened.
Have you ever encountered anything like that in your career so far, where it's like somebody's just like, yo, who is this guy voicing this character? Or, I wasn't a fan of this guy's voice acting.
Do you mean have they said it to me or have I thought that?
No. I mean, like,
have they bust out the pitchfork?
Like anybody on Twitter. Which is crazy because I feel like I haven't asked this question in a long time because a lot of the voice actors that we have up here, it's just like they always talk about how fans, praise their work and whatnot. So it's like you really don't hear that much about bad dubs anymore like you used to.
Oh, sure. Well, everyone's gonna have their, it's funny you ask that. Everyone's gonna have their opinion, of course. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, anyone who sought me out on social media always had nice things to say. And I feel, unless you're just like a complete jerk, I don't think you're gonna go see, you suck. But and then foolishly when the game came out, I just looked up and just tried to see anything. Thankfully, still most of it was very nice. Though I did find one guy who was not a fan of me, but I was like, well,
it's always one.
Yeah, I was like, it bugged me for a second. I'm like, okay, I've also seen some really nice things on here too, and it's like you got to take the good as well as the bad. I'm just like, look, it's just not everyone's going to be happy with every detail, and if someone's not happy with the voice, because also the pressure with that game was, it's an old game. The original game had no voice before,
right?
So everyone's going to have their voice in their head, and if they hear me and go, what the hell? Because it seemed like the guy specifically didn't like the voice I did. At least if I read his thing right. I tried not to dwell on it too long because I'm like, that's just not healthy to because I really don't try to seek that stuff out, except for that moment of weakness. But I thought it sounded like maybe he probably envisioned it differently, and there's really, there's nothing I can do about that. Atlas trusted me with the part, and I was honored that they did. And for the most part, most people are really nice and said, oh, that's totally what I pictured him sounding like. I'm like, yeah, because he's the scheming anime villain. They all sound like that. But
see, now something I want to piggyback off of what you said, because I've never played any of the Shin Megami games. And what you just said about how like they didn't even have voices back in the original game. So it makes sense now why they wanted to add voices to the characters in the game. And I think that that's cool. I know that you get HD remasters here and there, and some remasters it's just like the original game.
Didn't get voices when they did the remaster. Like
you said, they were.
They didn't for Final Fantasy VIII.
Well, let's do it now. Well, you guys want to do it? Let's do it.
That's what I was getting to. Is that it would be cool if a lot of these games get the remasters and they actually have voice actors reading the lines. It's like I guess for nostalgia purposes, like it's cool just reading the lines, but I think it would be cool if you added voices, because Final Fantasy IX is one of my favorite Final Fantasy games, and it would be cool to hear voice actors talking as the characters.
Put a voice to a face.
Yeah, totally. Well, it's so funny now, especially with the anime world and JRPGs. It's interesting because now they're not celebrities. I'm certainly not any sort of celebrity, but like those people are well known to that crowd. So it's interesting. It's like famous in a kind of microcosm sort of thing. And there does become this kind of fandom and a persona. No pun intended.
Hey.
I'm playing Persona 5 right now, and I'm digging it.
I know
Royal.
you are.
You've done your research.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think we're all playing it now since PlayStation gave it out for free.
Hey.
Oh, they are? Oh my God!
Hold on,
not the original. No, not the original.
Trav's saying here, getting you hyped up. Trav, make sure you say the right Persona 5 Strikers.
I'm talking about Strikers.
Okay, I'm downloading it because when I finish Royal, I'll just put in Strikers.
There you go.
Connor, that's what I did. Like when Strikers came out, I was still playing Persona 5 Royal for the first time, and I know that Strikers takes place, I want to say 1 or 2 years after.
It's 6
Royal.
Months. It's 6 months after.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and
You're
also
still
too,
in high school.
Also, spoiler alert, Connor. There are certain characters from Persona 5 that don't appear in Strikers, so they're not canon. Some fans like to say.
Oh, it's not. Is it? So it's not. Oh, it's not canon.
It's canon.
Disownment.
It's canon, but Persona 5 Royal, I can't remember the character's name. The girl with the ponytail. I'm mad I can't remember her name.
I don't even know if I'm there yet.
Laura Post voices her.
Yeah, the redhead.
The redhead. She was specifically created for Royal. She wasn't in the original Persona 5 game. So Persona, because remember, Royal is like an add-on.
It's an add-on.
Yeah. So
I was confused by that for so long. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of the added stuff that happened in Royal, it doesn't cross over into Strikers.
I'm gonna let you finish that line. All right, people just want to enjoy the game. Nobody cares about the continuity.
You say
they do.
But like there are.
I go into wormholes too. It's okay.
I like the wormholes. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Hey, it's just like if Michael didn't appear in the game, like people would be pissed.
Yeah, that's true. You got me there.
Gotta have him in the game.
And
so Connor,
I
want to ask you because we've been talking about voice acting and stuff.
Sure.
But you're an actor, like you've done stuff on screen. So I want to ask you, like, how was it the first time that you did a project where you were a character not behind the camera, but in front of the camera?
Behind the camera. I'm just some off-screen. The first thing I did was like the student film with this guy I know, James Cashman, who was like a big improviser at Seattle University, and he was also into film, so he was making this film I think for a senior project, and I got to play the lead in that.
Nice.
And just to see the work, I was so in awe with the behind the scenes people in film.
Right.
And just people like literally the grips and the people holding off the reflector things, and how many LED lights are behind actors at all times kind of blew my mind. For a while, it almost ruined film for me because I'm just watching. I'm like, oh my god, there's gonna be some like cardboard thing right up there, and like you see all that, and you're just like, oh man. But then you get used to it again. But that it was so fun. Film is so cool. Voiceover is my favorite thing to do, but after that, and I love theater too, but film is cool because it's smaller and you often can't really move that much because it just is going to look weird. You move your eyebrow too much. I bobble my head a lot when I talk. It looks ridiculous on camera.
So one thing I've noticed about this, I was like, man, this guy bobbles a lot.
Yeah, it's the ADHD. It's just trying to really wriggle its way out.
Hey, that's what happens when you watching stuff in 4K. Like, I literally just saw this video. Have you guys seen Freaky Friday with Lindsay Lohan?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Okay, so
at least you've seen that.
Her brother.
I didn't even answer for a reason.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it.
We know.
Not even just that. Jamie Lee Curtis is the mom. Didn't even mention the legendary Jamie Lee Curtis. He's just
Pay some respect upon her name.
Remember, this is the guy who said. He said John Luke Leguizamo's best role was
Luigi, and I was like,
the guy who played Luigi.
Yeah, he's known for playing Luigi.
Yeah,
okay.
That's it.
That's what it says in IMDb.
Well,
first role.
But there's a scene where her brother gets tackled, and somebody paused it, and they showed the stunt double, and it's a grown man.
Yeah,
and it's funny because. Back then, it's just like that movie was just filmed in whatever quality it was filmed in. But because of 4K and stuff, when you pause something, you can see. And it's just like, like they literally got a grown man.
Totally. Have you guys seen Pen 15 by chance?
I love that show. It's so
I know what it is. But
so funny. It's brilliant.
For those that don't know, it's supposed to spell penis.
Hey, we don't say penis. We say
PG-13 podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, you can say penis.
We say ding-a-ling, not
you
penis.
say ding-a-ling. I say
it spells ding-a-ling. But like, but for those that don't know, the main characters are middle schoolers, but they're played by women in their early 30s. But they're just acting. That's the comedy of it. But there's scenes where they're kissing like the boys they like or whatever. They're having awkward kissing scenes. You're like, wait, you can't have like a 30-something kissing like a minor, like a 12-year-old. But
they're really minors?
They do extreme close-ups, so they obviously have it's like kind of obvious, but it's funny. They do extreme close-ups to like show the kissing and it looks awkward. But you can also tell that the double, like, they got a little bit like lines on their face, just ever so slightly. You can tell that they're older, but it's just fun, even if you know, to just go, oh, okay, body double.
Yeah, because that would be weird.
That would be not good. But
it's just like in Scary Movie where they was saying that in all of the horror movies, you had 20-year-olds,
30-year-olds playing
30-year-olds
high school kids.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey, I mean, but hey, it's just like 21 Jump Street. You know what I'm saying? Hey, guys, remember that time where we had to infiltrate a high school and people kept on saying that we don't look like we're high schoolers? Like, it happens.
It does.
Oh, I had no problem there because I remember when I was 23, I saw Sorry to Bother You in theaters.
That good movie.
Great movie.
Yeah. Oh, Banks seen that one.
Of course.
That obscure random movie. Banks seen that one.
It's a wild movie.
Know why?
Let him go.
It's because of Lakeith Stanfield.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah.
He's
Trav, let him go.
But like, I was in there, and this old lady comes up to me, and she's got the little flashlight. She's the theater attendant. She says, "Can I see your ID?" And I'm 23.
Oh, wow.
I'm like,
"Oh, what?
What?
What? I'm like, you got carded?
I got carded at 23 years old for seeing an R-rated movie. I didn't have to shave till I was 17 for context. But like, I was just like, I already showed my ID because I had to show it before too.
Yeah.
I already showed my ID. I'm like, well, we're just checking everyone's ID, which is not true. She just went for me.
She must have seen you. She must have seen you.
Profiled.
Bro, I've never seen a movie Usher in real life ever in my life.
I've seen
Really?
Well, hold on, because D and me, we went to go see Resident Evil Extinction, and D, you know, he got in trouble because
D, don't let him.
Easy.
Don't let him.
He let his friends. He opened up the back door for him so they can.
Just relax. We don't tell this kind of stuff.
No, but it was funny. It was funny because we were the only 4 people in the movie theater. And we were saying,
you know what? I could track the ticket sales then.
And we were all the way at the top. And the movie usher came in there, and they was just like, "We saw on the camera."
All right, this is what really happened. All right. So I go to open the door, the alarm goes off, and I pull a straight Solid Snake, and I see this random box, right? And I just jump in the box, and they come over there, and they're like, "Huh, nobody's here." Then they walked off. That's what really happened.
What is this? Like really Sly Cooper?
Yeah,
dude. This dude
stays in boxes.
This dude stays telling stories about D getting in trouble.
That's what he does.
Never about himself. See, never about himself.
We grew up together, and you know, D, he was there through the good times and the bad times. Like when the car stopped on Virginia Beach Boulevard, and I didn't. What did I have my permit? Yeah, I had my permit.
He took his mom's truck out. Convinced me, hey, we're gonna go for a ride.
Convinced me. And he kidnapped me. He threw me in the truck.
Ran out of gas on one of the busiest streets.
On one of the busiest.
It didn't look like it was over. His mom didn't know.
I thought the cop was gonna come and be like, "Hey, can I see some?
You boys need some help? Yeah, sure. Let me just see your ID first, and then what?
Hey, what happened? D saved the day.
And no, D didn't save the day. My ex-girlfriend saved the day. She came up there because she lived around the corner. She brought a gas can, and then she put some gas in my mom's truck, and we got away. And
but someone comes around the corner to bail you out with a gas can, you know.
I was gonna say we got away with the diamonds.
I still got in trouble. My mom found out eventually. You know what I'm saying? Like,
did she really?
Yeah, bro. She found out. I got in trouble.
Would she measure where the tires were? She had it marked where she left it.
Parents always find out when you do something that you're not supposed to do. You know what I'm saying?
I think
when you take your mom's truck, and everybody that's watching and listening right now,
don't take your mom's truck.
Do not take your mom or your dad's vehicle because they will know it could be the seat was moved back.
That's true.
The last song that they listened to on the CD. well, I mean, what's MP3s now? But you know, back then, like
that's a good point. Now that we're older and driving,
2 episodes ahead of my favorite murder, my mom would know.
Stuff, man. Yeah. But so Connor, final question that I have for you. I pass the ball back to Trav and D. When you're not doing voice actor work, what are some of your hobbies that you're into?
I am really a big music nerd. I mentioned I play bass. I also sing when people allow me to. I play guitar as well. So I'll write music, even if it's for fun. I've been working with some friends on some stuff that I think might be released.
We've been working on this theme song, Connor. We might need you.
I was about to say the same thing. Hey, Connor, we need.
What is it? We'll do a commission piece.
Yeah, we'll huddle up and I'll get the guys.
And we'll get the leveling up funds and see what we can do.
And the breadsticks. Don't forget
some breadsticks.
I'm watching live videos of my favorite bands and like going, okay, which guy played which guitar part, and I have to like track it. I don't know. It's a little.
So Connor, do you ever try and just hit certain lines from your favorites? Is that something you just do?
Certain lines.
Yeah, like singing.
Oh, sure.
Like from songs, I guess. Do you ever try and match people's intensity, I guess, or
pitch? Yeah. Well, when I was like in early high school, I tried to hit all those high notes, and then Puberty Act 2 had other things in mind. Guy. Yeah, now I sound like a bad guy.
The bad guy.
I'll sing the lower. I can do the any of those kind of 80s post-punk with the kind of gloomy baritone voiced singers. I can do that. But it was sad when you lose some of those high notes. But I know too many bass riffs because I'd look up the tabs in high school all the time. So I can play the Red Hot Chili Peppers catalog. I can do all the grunge bands, whatever. Just let me tune to whatever weird tuning they have. But I've got that whole repertoire in my back pocket.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now, one side note on we got you talking about music now, real quick.
Oh yeah.
Are you familiar with Iron Maiden?
Oh, of course.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's all I got. That's all I got.
Steve Harris.
Hey, D won't sure if you knew about one of the biggest bands of the 70s. Iron Maiden.
I just find it mind blowing that they're not in the Rock Hall of Fame yet.
Yeah, they got passed on again this year.
Yeah, it's weird.
I know it's weird.
They have like a million CDs.
I know they do have so many.
They get you pumped. I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah. Under the Hills, the bass and the drums.
Oh yeah.
The drum intro of Run to the Hills. My friend and I, if we're jamming together, if he's playing drums, he'll just start hitting that and I go do do do. It's just so.
I mean, they got some good songs, man. Yeah. Fear of the Dark. It was used in Fear Street this year. Amazing.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, Banks. Do you have anything else? Or?
I do have one more question because it's like we've been sitting here talking and having a good time, man. And Connor, I can't let you finish this interview without talking about what you can talk about being in God of War Ragnarok. That's a big game that's coming up, and
look at us.
Whatever you can talk about without getting in trouble, man. Like, how was it finding out that you were going to be a part of that franchise?
Yeah, all right. I gotta be real careful with that because it was a miracle. I was shocked that I could announce it because it's not, as you know, it's not out yet.
Yeah.
Right. Can't tell you.
Fun. Just say it was fun.
Oh no, it's gonna be. It was fun, but it's gonna be sick. I mean, so that was on my list. I got a PS4 kind of late because in college and living in Portland again, I didn't play games as much. I didn't have any new consoles, so I was just catching up on games. When I got with my agent, I booked a commercial, got a nice paycheck. I bought a PS4, and God of War was like next on my list. And then I got this audition, and then with a code name, and then they had me do a callback, and then I got the part, and then I looked back at it, and I'm like, interesting, and it was God of War. Sick. And there's really not a ton I can tell you other than it's gonna be fun, sick as hell. And just from what I know about it, I'm really excited for the story, and I think it's gonna be an excellent follow-up. But just to see who I'm also in the game with, was kind of mind-blowing. So it's like, Chris Tagliaferra and I are doing the same Berserker Oxes together, and then I've got Kellen Goff also in that mix doing stuff. It's some of the most intensive stuff, but it's gonna be I think pretty cathartic to play for everyone. So
yeah.
I just think that it's cool that it's like, you were in the Shin Megami Tensei III remake, you were in the Final Fantasy VII remake, and like now you're going to be in God of War. So when it comes to video games, I mean, I know Fallout 76 too, but it's like you have been a part of the PlayStation family, which is what I love. And I'm looking forward to playing God of War Ragnarok whenever I can get a PS5, because those things are hard to get. Do you have a PS5, by the way?
No.
Yeah,
no. I'm going to figure out, like, based on like when it's time to get the next I'm probably going to get a PS5. But like, depending on how many games I'm in, because there's other stuff I know that's going to come out. Possibly. You don't even know what it's going to be released on. They go,
that's true.
You gotta weigh which console to get first. Yeah, but
I never have to weigh. I'm a Sony kid.
I PS2 was my first too, so
I can't remember what voice actor and what game it was, but it was a game that came out last year, and it was only on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. And of course, he wanted to play the game, but he couldn't get either console. So the company that he did the voice over work for, they got him a PS5 so that way he could play it. So
I saw that story. Yeah.
So who knows? Connor, it's just like, you might be like, man, I really want to play God of War, and they're gonna be like, hey, we got you.
I think that guy had a little more clout than me. I feel like I'm right now. So
Connor, you got clout too. Don't be doubting yourself, man.
Hey, listen. I'm still a new guy in town. I've been in some titles, which is great. It's fantastic. But I feel like I'm still a bit of a Forrest Gump. I'm poking my head into things. Yeah, I got to be a big baddie in SMT, but like, other things, just making my way through, and there's some stuff down the road that's going to be cool too.
And now you're on one of the. Now you're on one of the biggest and greatest up and coming podcasts.
That's what I was about to say, man.
That's right.
This is the biggest thing right here.
Guys, the limit.
We know people, man. Hey, look, we said your name right at the start of the interview, man. That's what we
make sure you get it right,
or else
force choke you.
Swear to me.
Now I know I originally said I only had one.
I know I said I had one more question.
But this is my final question. Because
fire away, man. Keep it coming.
Because you said that you're still an up and coming voice actor. If there is an anime that you would like to lend your voice to, like what anime would that be?
I'd love to be in some anime. Well, the first one I got into, it's long over, but Death Note was sick. It'd be cool to be in some kind of thriller thing like that. If you got any recommendations for kind of some anime thrillers like that?
There, baby.
That would be cool. I mean, My Hero would be amazing because that's just the it thing right now. It is. And it's a huge cast. So that's a good, maybe that's a safe answer for me to say since it's so popular. I
think you should do something like a Gundam.
Oh, man,
your voice would work with that.
Thank you for saying that. Gundam was one of those things because I wasn't super exposed. I watched like those Transformer anime at the turn of the century.
Right.
That was like my first exposure to anime, but I didn't know a lot. But I pop in and watch some Gundams. And
there's so many of them. And giant
I know. I couldn't keep track. I'd get confused.
Yeah. I'm watching one now that came out a few years ago because
they've been around forever.
But it's a lot of them.
Yeah. I would love to be in that. Giant robots. I'm in. So I'll say Gundam.
There you go.
I'm trying to remember. Well, it's on Netflix. Because we was talking about it.
Which one? Unicorn?
Unicorn. Yeah, that's the one that I just watched. Yeah.
There's a lot of them, man. I'm watching Gundam C for the first time now. So I don't know how I missed it, but
hey, we didn't have DVRs back then. That's what it was. Because it came on during a time where it only came on Saturday nights, and back then we were busy, man. Hey, we were still in my mom's car.
Was that like
stop telling people that?
Was that the Toonami? Well, Toonami was Saturday, right?
Right.
Yeah, Toonami's on Saturday. Yeah,
it's that weird time slot. A lot of those anime were on. Yeah, it was like a Saturday night or like Friday night. I remember watching stuff, or like there'd be stuff on at like 6 a.m. I remember. Was it Zoids?
Zoids. That's exactly what I was about to say.
I'd watch that like at 6 a.m. It'd be like the first thing I'd watch.
Yep.
Zoids,
and it's just like, and you get ready for school. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I'm gonna try to watch this show, but it's just like I gotta
Zoids,
go to
Transformers, Pokemon. Then you gotta go to school.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, but that's all the questions that I have. Trav D.
Trav, you got anything? I'll wrap it up.
Hey, well, what's it called? I feel like if I ask, we might be here a little bit longer, but I'm asking anyway because I know that you was talking about Seattle and bringing up bands. I made a little Pearl Jam reference, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains. But what are you jamming now, bro? Like,
great question. Oh, well, so Radiohead is my favorite band. If you say, I feel like that's I don't know. I feel like that's a generic answer for just some long-haired dude like me. But I love Queens of the Stone Age a lot. That's a great favorite.
Band. Yeah. As I say, you kind of look like the lead singer of Queens.
I'll take it, Josh. Yeah. No, I could see that. I've been getting into Royal Blood, which is cool. They're kind of a similar vibe, just that bass, the drums. Also, Death from Above 1979, another bass drum duo. I love that kind of post-punk, like Interpol a lot. I can get into some
Interpol's
Foo Fighters.
Good. I love that.
I like my Foo Fighters. Might get my dad rock on. Yeah. No, Foo Fighters is one of my favorite bands, too. It's just like good rock music just to put on. It's always been there for me.
Hell yeah.
That's always been a favorite too. But yeah, and then the grunge bands and like some chill wave, like Washed Out's cool, and Miami Horror. I don't know if that's chill wave. You get into those subgenres, it gets a little Car Seat Headrest. That's a good one. Phoebe Bridgers, I like some of that.
Yeah, make sure y'all be checking these out.
Yeah, Mastodon. They could use my help, I'm sure.
That's a good one too.
I was like, Mastodon's like a Soundgarden for people who like to LARP. So that's perfect. They're pretty badass.
All right.
Well, Banks, why don't you ask D to ask his question?
Just pass it over, Trav.
I love these questions.
Yeah, what we got about to do it, then you cut them off, right?
Yeah, I mean, shoot all right. So first and foremost, never been to Oregon. I take it you've been to Bend, Oregon before?
I love Bend, Oregon. I was there.
I hear it's beautiful out there.
It is beautiful. It's gorgeous. You should check it out.
Oh, I will.
Outdoor stuff everywhere, rafting. There's even in the river now. There's this thing where you could surf on the river there, which is
it's pretty sick.
Central Oregon. I know it's a little scary to me, but you can go hiking. There's skiing, Mount Bachelor's right there.
Ain't no sharks out there though, right?
I was gonna say I didn't see too much true crime documentaries to be going out to these places. Let me just say that.
Oregon
end up buried off the side of the ditch.
Oregon's had so many serial killers.
Yeah,
Oracle.
Yeah, Trav, you gonna be out there with me and D?
Yeah, you gonna be like, hey, Banks, watch it. Your health is getting low.
Yeah.
Be back at the base.
You might want a quick save before entering that cabin.
Hey guys, I would save the game here if I was y'all. No, but okay. Question number one. I have two wrap up questions. First, favorite 80s or 90s movie or both.
I hope it's not too basic for me to say, but I think it's got to be the one I would go back to the most, Return of the Jedi.
Nice.
Okay, that's it. Yeah. I mean,
that was my favorite Star Wars movie for a long time. Like,
as a kid, I don't know what it was. I loved my favorite Star Wars scene is the Luke Vader Emperor throne room scene.
Absolutely.
That's just the peak for me. I know, people, maybe not everyone likes the Ewoks or whatever.
I love
it takes
the
a while
Ewoks.
to get it going. I like the Ewoks. They're fun, Why not?
I actually like those movies. I almost enjoy the old ones, especially like classic movies where they didn't have all this tech and stuff. It's just cool to see how far you come.
Because you watch the like Lando flying into the Death Star in the Millennium Falcon. You're like, okay, his co-pilot's a Muppet. So what?
Yeah.
I just always found it funny that Lando was wearing Han's clothes.
At the end of Empire. Yeah, it's so weird.
He's just like, I'm Han. So it's like the Captain meme from
I'm the captain now.
I'm Han Solo now.
He saw Han Solo's wardrobe. Hello, what have we here?
But to piggyback off of what you were saying, like I feel like you can only see the original Star Wars is if you watch it on VHS before they did all the upgrades to add certain scenes.
No, it's weird because I was exposed to it. Like my dad doesn't care about Star Wars at all. My mom was the one who's like, you guys have to see Star Wars. And my brother and I were like, okay. And then we saw it, we're like, all right, we're in. Like, we're sold immediately. But that point, all the VHSs were, because we saw it like, we're little kids, but since I was born in the mid-90s, like it was the 1997 version, so I was used to those changes.
Yeah.
But then there would even be weird. Now we're going on a tangent, but sorry.
It's all right.
In Empire Strikes Back, this is really nerdy of me to know, but in Empire Strikes Back in the 97 version, when Luke, Vader says, "Join me," Luke jumps off and it has the screaming sound effect of the Emperor when he's falling down the shaft and dying, but it's Luke making that sound for some reason. And it's just in that version, and they added it, and then they're like, wait, no, that's weird. And they got rid of it in like the 2004 version. But it still got like, George Lucas is like, wait, no, that was kind of weird. All right, now let's go change the Obi-Wan's noise he makes and make Darth Vader say no.
Yeah.
That was the biggest upsetting thing when Darth Vader goes, no! Like, we know what he's thinking. You don't need to do that.
Yeah, he's already sad.
It's now a callback to the cheesiest part of Revenge of the Sith,
Yeah, and that's my favorite one out of the prequels.
Oh, yeah. That's gotta be. It's, the environments are cool in all of them, even if it's like the dialogue's a little dodgy. The worlds are still really cool in the prequels.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I enjoy the most.
It's like Kamino's captivating and Geonosis looks cool. The sound effects are great. It's still a cool world.
Battles are sweet. I mean, like, you got
the Clone Wars now too, so it's like it's been
they're constantly expanding on it and stuff.
Yeah.
We got to see Chewie's race. You know what I'm saying? They were
all the Wookiees. Yeah,
the Wookiees. So I mean, like,
that was cool. Yeah, it's fun.
Now, question number 2, Connor.
All right.
Growing up, was there anything that really scared you and stuck with you, whether that was a spooky soundtrack, a movie, TV show, Muppets?
Muppets were okay.
Animals just popping up out of your pillow.
Man, I got freaked out about so many things. Like so many movies as a kid, I'd have nightmares. They wouldn't even be horror movies. Two of the earliest ones I remember that freaked me out, even if I liked it. One of the earliest ones was Thomas the Tank Engine. There's one where Gordon, the one of the blue ones, he loses his like top, like this little, I don't even know. It's the little dome on top of that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it gets knocked off, and you like see what's underneath, and it freaks me out. I don't know if it was because it seemed like mutilation or something like that. Or another one was in Toy Story, which I feel like was one of my earliest movie memories, when Woody's head spins around, and then it wasn't even that made me a little uneasy, but the fact that he talked to Sid in his actual voice, even though you saw him the whole time in the movie, he talks like that, but to see him break that barrier, that kind of scared me as a kid. I'd always have to like hide at that.
See, that's that dark side of Josh Whedon. He just snuck that in there, and
it's just like this little dark moment. You're kind of like,
yeah. What's crazy is that Sid, he's been scared twice now, because when Woody and all the toys attacked him, and then in Monsters Inc., when one of the monsters goes into his bedroom.
No, it was that. And then like when I was in middle school, something that freaked me out in kind of a moral way, and it's one of my favorite movies. I feel like a generic thing to say, but The Dark Knight, just the ending of that, just like how it ends, where it's like someone's driven, who's supposed to be this
in the
noble
cop
person.
car, and he's like sticking his head out.
Oh no, that was fine. That was fun. That's easy.
Yeah, he's talking about at the end of the Dark
Harvey
Knight,
Dent.
where Harvey Dent dies.
Well, it's just like the idea you could be pushed to like become this murderer and then leave everything to like chance, and then like put like in then to be Commissioner Gordon, and like try to like, he's like, tell your son it's gonna be okay, and it's like, what would you do as a parent? And then also like just that he died the villain, because it's literally for some reason morally for me at that time, maybe it's being like coming into like adolescence and being like worrying about like morality and stuff. It was me going to Catholic school, but I'm like, you could just like be a good guy and then have a bad day, and then you die, and you just die a bad person or something. That freaked me out in a more existential way. That's probably not what you're saying. But
my fault, man. I know when you feel philosophical. My fault.
Yeah, bro. I mean, it's okay. He always says, monsters aren't born; they're created. And I mean, like that whole.
Don't let him take your line.
The whole Harvey. Well,
me and D credit. He gave me credit, and me and Banks just on the right.
Yeah, hey Trav, I don't bite off.
We're a team.
Wait, I gotta hear it.
Yeah, we're a team. But it's. I mean, he was created. You know, he was a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
He lost his fiance. His face got destroyed, and
I brought him down to
you know what I'm saying? Like he was messed up. But I mean, like even in the Dark Knight Rises, and I you know, the Dark Knight trilogy, it's one of my favorites out of the Batman franchise. But
it's so good.
You know, like when John Blake goes up to Commissioner Gordon when he finds out the truth about Harvey Dent,
right?
And it's like I like the conversation between them because he was just like, you know, what would you have done if you was in that position? You know what I'm saying? I had a family to protect. The whole there's all the moral quandaries in that. It's like the idea of Batman using that surveillance equipment, which it's like, you know, when you think of like a government, like one man going, I can fix this and I will spy on everyone, you think that's not good. But Batman's like, well, I got to do it right now to find this guy. Yeah. And then you have on the boat, you've got like, all right, now blow up the other boat. These are all just prisoners. Right, and then the prisoner guy is the one who throws it out. It's just
Debo.
Debo.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace to Debo. And I like to say that Batman and Friday are in the same universe, and Debo got put in Gotham City somehow.
You like to say a lot of stuff.
I do, but hey, D, I'm passing the ball back to you, man.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got, Connor. You know. One Nintendo title I think you should lend your voice to if you ever get the chance is Fire Emblem. Is another.
I knew you was about to say that.
Well, I mean, your voice just seems very uniform. That's why, you know, think Gundam or anything that has like that kind of swag.
Some sort of military soldier.
I
voiced a lot of authoritarians. I feel like if a comedian's just trying to do an impression of like the generic kind of like uptight white guy, you just do my voice.
Nice. Thanks. Take us out of here.
Connor, thank you so much for joining us up here on my birthday episode. I really appreciate that.
I'm extra honored. I mean, dude, I saw your podcast because I saw Brittany Cox was on, and I just like, this looks like this is a cool podcast. You guys seem to have great chemistry. I just followed you guys, and I was like pleasantly surprised you reached out. So, you know, this is the real who's who of anime and JRPG, so I'm just honored to be a little footnote here.
Yeah, you never know who's gonna slide in.
You never know who's gonna slide. I always tell Trav, man, when it comes to getting guests for the podcast, I always feel honored when, you know, we interview somebody and then they retweet us, and then like a voice actor, they follow us. And as soon as they follow us, I'm just like, yo, like, I'm going to reach out to them because it's like, obviously, you know, you follow us because like what you just said, but I mean, you never know. It's like, I'll slide into your DM and be like, hey, do you want to be interviewed? And I mean, like, that's what happens. So thank you so much for joining us. And before we let you go, let everybody in social media land know where they can find you at.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I got up my social media game. I am at Connor Fogarty VO at, you know, pretty much all of them. So CONNORFOGARTY. And then just tech VO like all the other voice actors because everyone does that. I'm not original.
That's okay.
That's all right.
And, you know, one last thing I want to say about Connor. I mean, he's friends with John Cena, just like we're friends with John Cena. And,
oh, yeah. I'm sure just the same way. I'm sure you guys would have more cred there than I would. But yes.
We'll reach out, you know.
That was that weird thing. He followed all the voice actors. So
interesting.
Hey, we'll reach out. Hey, we know people, man. You know, we know
You're
John
talking
Cena.
A professional wrestler, Benjamin Banks.
Yeah, exactly.
Just don't put me in the ring. I'd die.
Hey, well, look, hey, Connor, next time somebody gives you trouble, we're going to show up just like how Jay and Silent Bob was going to people's houses that was crapping on the movie.
With the breadstick bats?
Yeah, we're going to have the breadstick.
Oh, that'll be some blunt trauma by the time we prep those breadsticks.
Hey, speaking of blunt trauma, that was an actual tag team that I was a part of. So, yeah. That was the tag team.
Blunt Trauma?
Blunt Trauma?
Yeah, I was in a tag team, and it was me and another big guy.
That's nice trivia.
And yeah, they named our tag team Blunt Trauma. So, Trav, you know, speaking of tag teams, let everybody know where they can find you at in social media land.
That's right. I'm on the Instagram at ZK Audio. I'm also on the Twitter at TRAVIOSCK, where I'm also on Letterboxd ranking and rating all my favorite movies that I am watching. D, where they gonna find my man at?
You can find me as always at rebellious_D23 Instagram.com. And Banks, hey, if they need a hero, where can they find one, good sir?
Hey, if they need a hero and I'm falling out of the sky, hopefully the bubble will open up like your boy Gamby has in my suit.
Oh, you mean Trav? Trav, wait the button.
And you can find me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, at KingBenji_Banks on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. Thank you all again for watching and listening to this brand new episode. Make sure that you check out all our social media accounts. Stay positive. Keep that pinky up. Wish me a happy birthday in the comments. We'll see you next time on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Peace.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching another episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Podcast, we got that too. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for further episodes and notifications. Thanks a lot to our patrons. And if you don't mind, join the Patreon. We'll be having new specials coming up soon.